Assalamualaikum and hi to Professor Madya Dr. Haji Shahnawi. My name is Nadiah Syafiah and my metric number is 2023276906. Today, I would like to present you my cybersecurity case study, and my case study is about Linawati binti Asim, Tawan Sayyidatul Hanum binti Suzali. So here are the things that we're gonna go through. First is the fact of cases. Second is issue of the cases. Third is judgment, and the last but not least is analysis and critic. So, I would like to start with the fact of cases. The case between Ninawati binti Asim and Sadatul Hanum binti Sazali revolved around a dispute stemming from a transaction involving a pre-live bag and subsequent allegation of defamation. The case highlight issue of business ethics, consumers' right, and the misuse of social media platform, which is Instagram and Facebook. The plaintiff, a social media influencer or online entrepreneur, specializes in selling pre-loved handbags through Instagram and Facebook. With a large following, she operated under clear business terms, including a no-refund policy for reserved items. The defendant, intrigued by an advertised Balenciaga handbag, initiated a purchase on 5 November 2019. She transferred 1,000 ringgit as a partial payment, while the remaining amount was to be paid upon delivery. The situation escalated when the defendant expressed dissatisfaction, citing issue from a prior transaction involving her friend Sarah and demanding a refund for both her deposit and Sarah back. The plaintiff adhering to her business policy refused the request. The matter became more worse when the defendant accused the plaintiff of misusing the handbag for personal purpose after the plaintiff used it for promotional photo. This allegation led to further discord, with the defendant resorting to aggressive language and demand. On 18 November 2019, the plaintiff determined the transaction due to the defendant's unreasonable behavior and offensive language. She refunded a 1,000 ringgit deposit and decided to retain the handbag as she had fully paid the original owner. However, the defendant escalated the conflict by posting defamatory statements on Instagram and Facebook. These posts accused the plaintiff of dishonesty, unethical behavior, and fraud, and including derogatory remarks about the character and business practices. The posts were widely viewed and shared, causing reputational harm to the plaintiff. The plaintiff responded by filing a defamation lawsuit, asserting that the defendant's statements were false, malicious, and intended to damage her reputation. She highlighted the impact of this statement, particularly given her role as an influencer and the reach of social media. The defendant, in her defense, claimed that her posts reflected her personal experience and were justified. So we're gonna move on to issue of the cases. First is defamation allegation. The plaintiff aligned that the defendant made defamatory posts on Instagram and Facebook, including derogatory remarks that accusation of dishonesty and unethical practices. The statement aligned that is a harm that the plaintiff's reputation as an online entrepreneur and social media influencer. The court needed to decide if the statement were defamatory and if they affected the plaintiff business in the pre-loved good market. So we're gonna move to justification. The defendant raised the defense of justification, arguing that her statement were based on her own experience with the plaintiff during the transaction. She also invoked defenses such as fair comment and public interest, claiming her post served as a warning to other potential buyers. The court had to evaluate whether these defenses were valid and whether the defendant acted meticulously or within her right as a consumer. The third issue is reputation. The plaintiff argued that the statement tarnished her image, leading to financial losses and affecting her credibility as a trusted seller. Given the plaintiff's significant following on Instagram and Facebook, the court had to assess whether the defendant action's sustainability affected her business operation and personal reputation. So we're gonna move to the fourth issue of cases, which is refund of payment. The defendant paid a deposit of 100,000 for the bag, but later demanded a refund after expressing dissatisfactions, which is the plaintiff conduct and the transaction. The court had to decide whether the defendant was entitled to a refund, particularly given the plaintiff's stated business policy of no refund for reserved items. Okay. Next is judgment. The court concluded that the defendant's defamatory action unjustly harmed the plaintiff's business and reputation. The plaintiff was entitled to relief, including damage for the harm suffered. The judgment emphasized the importance of accountability on social media and the need for individuals to exercise restraint and fairness when expressing grievances public, publicly. This case underscored the intersection of defamation law and digital commerce, highlight the potential for significant reputational harm in the age of social media. The High Court upheld the decision of the lower court, concluding that the defendant action were defamatory and caused substantial damage to the plaintiff's reputation and business. So, the first is about defamation. The central issue was whether the defendant posts on Instagram and Facebook were defamatory. The court found the statement implied dishonesty and unethical conduct, directly referring the plaintiff name and the business. So, the second is justification. The defendant critiqued the plaintiff on social media instead of resolving the issue privately. The court rejected the defense of justification as the defendant failed to prove a claim with credible evidence. The third one is contractual terms and refund policy. The court upheld the plaintiff non-refundable deposit policy of affirming that the defendant demand for a refund was inconsistent with the agreed terms as she unilaterally withheld payment. So we're gonna move to analysis and critique. First is proof of defamation. The plaintiff successfully demonstrated the defamatory nature of the defendant post, meeting all legal requirements. The decision reflects the judiciary growing adaptability to digital age disputes, ensuring protection for individuals engaged in online commerce. The next one is defamation and social media accountability. The case highlights the misuse of social media to voice personal grievances. While the defendant claimed her statements were based on personal experience, the court ruled they were defamatory. The judgment underscored the need to clearer boundaries on social media accountability, where freedom of expressions must be balanced against reputation harm. The third one is defense of justification. The defendant failed to prove the truth of her statement, rendering the defenses of justification invalid. This reinforces the burden of proof on those making public allegation, but also raises questions about evidence standard in digital disputes. The last but not least is judicial fairness. Judicial fairness is the judgment consider all perceptive, including the defendant's initial grievances about the product. The judgment could have further examined the system challenge of consumer protection in online consignment sales. And this is the reference for my case study, which is Nawati binti Asim Bisadatu Hanum binti Sazali. And that's all from me. And thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Bye. Assalamualaikum.